This job would be great if it weren't for all the people. Gotcha, yeah. You know, people are messy, aren't they? Numbers are nice. You know, they just line up and, you know, and they balance most of the time, except for me. And then, you know, but people, that's the hard part of it. And the jobs would be wonderful if you didn't have to deal with people. And that's where you run into sharks, you know, a shark attacks. Either somebody angry at you, and really we're going to talk about two things today. We're going to talk about when you have an angry person complaining, yelling, screaming, that kind of a situation. And then we're also going to talk about what do you do when you have a difficult coworker who won't, you know, cooperate, causes problems with you, or an employee whom you need to coach. Remember that it's very hard to change other people. We can only really change how we react to other people. And in our life, there's a very small circle of things you can totally control. What can you totally control? Your emotions, and sometimes I wonder about that, right? You know, have you ever, you know, yeah, right, your passion, you know, I mean, it's very hard to control your emotions. People punch your hot buttons. Or how about, have you ever tried just a habit, a bad habit? Lose weight, stop smoking, you know, sometimes I wonder about that. Commit to what we call the adult behavior state, right? You can be a child, you can be the scolding parent or teacher, or you can take the adult problem-solving approach, and that's where you don't let them get your hot buttons. Don't let them emotionally hijack. You know, the childlike level, of course, is getting down to their level, right? You know, kind of thing. I saw an example of that a couple of years ago. I was flying into Pittsburgh, and it was very late at night. I was tired, and I called the hotel van to pick me up, and the phone rang and rang. It rang 25 times. I finally hung up, and I said, gosh, I must have dialed the wrong phone number or something, so I tried again. This time it rang 27 times. All right, so when the woman finally picked it up, I went, my gosh, the phone just rang 27 times. And she said to me, well, I picked it up now, didn't I? I went, whoa. And of course, I realized I better be nicer. I wasn't going to have a van. So, you know, you have to think, you know, life is an echo. You get back what you send out. You have to be careful there. But she was obviously tired and grumpy. And I punched her hot button. You know, I was tired, I had a grumpy tone of voice, and that kind of thing. That was a childlike approach, no question about it. Then, of course, there's the scolding parent approach. And you tend to use that approach, and it depends on what your parents did. What were your role models as parents? What did teachers do? You know, I do a lot of work in school districts, and it really is interesting. You know, well, if they would just read those memos that we send home with their children. And I said, you know what, that's not going to happen. You know, everybody's busy, the child loses it on the way home, that kind of a thing. So, you know, we tend to say, well, if you had just called us sooner, well, if you had just, right, guess what? People aren't going to change. The chances of other people changing are slim to none.